Hey guys, Joe of Joe Madden Sports here, joined this morning by Matt Perrault, co-host of the Bostonian versus the Books from Props US. Matt, happy summer. How's these dog days of baseball treating you lately?
Is it football season yet? Because I don't think I can get there fast enough to get out of this baseball rut that I currently am in. I'm good. Thank you for having me back. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to have you here. We've got lots of things happening, talking football. It's right around the corner, Matt. I was shocked to see these comments about Lamar Jackson that we saw this. Well, it came out yesterday. I saw it this morning. What are your thoughts on Lamar and this disrespect that's being thrown at him?
Look, he's a difficult guy to evaluate from a passing perspective. We all know what he is as an athlete, but it's all about the passing ability for Lamar Jackson. But I think he's going to have a really big year. I think he's going to have a really big bounce back year. I think the Ravens are going to have a huge year. I've already bet the Ravens to win the division. I've already bet the Ravens over on their win total. I think this is a defense that's going to be resurgent. And I think when you have a coach like Harbaugh, who had a really rough year last year, they had so many injuries, lost so many games due to the fact that just their star players weren't out there. And I think Dobbins coming back and, clapping back at the people saying that he was not going to be ready for game one is a good sign. I think the team feels confident. So look, people look at Lamar Jackson and they're like, he's an athlete playing quarterback. And frankly, he needs to go out there and prove it in the postseason. But I mean, I agree with Coach Harbaugh talking about one of the more or maybe the most disrespected player in the NFL could be Lamar Jackson, just because so many people look at him and they downplay his numbers and downplay what he's doing on the field consistently when he's healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you there. We've even seen, the hits that he's taken that the refs have not called, where if that was Tom Brady or any other quarterback, I really do think in the league, that would have been called and that player would have been ejected from the game. So I'm not sure what's happening, why he's getting so much disrespect, Matt.
Well, I think a lot of it is the fact that he hasn't done it. He has not taken his team yet to a Super Bowl, and he hasn't done the things that he was expected to do when he came into the league. But I mean, they built the entire offense in Baltimore around him. So, and now he's representing himself, and he's going into a contract year. And there's a lot of talk about how much guaranteed money is he going to get, and how much money should the Ravens commit to him. But I mean, it's Lamar's team, and they have become an offense that is sort of a throwback. They don't throw the ball like Tom Brady does. They don't drop back and throw the ball 35 times. They're going to run it consistently. And a lot of D coordinators may think that I'm not worried about the guy throwing the football. Well, at times, Lamar can burn you if his receivers are healthy. So that receiving core needs to be productive, needs to be healthy. But I just think the schedule for the Ravens is really easy after last year. And two, I think you get an angry Ravens team with a softer division for them to play this season, with the Steelers going through a rebuild and the Browns with their issues with Watson. I think it's going to be a big year for Baltimore.
Yeah, I think this is going to light a fire under Lamar as well. Is there a quarterback out there, Matt, that you would say has never had a bad game?
Never had a bad game. No, every quarterback's had a bad game and at every single level. And in the NFL, it humbles you very, very quickly. I mean, look, Tom Brady at times was walking off the field dejected, going, what the heck just happened? So the best of the best can lose quickly in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. We look at Tom Brady versus the Saints. We know that is one matchup that he struggles with. Tom Brady struggles in Miami. So, things need to be dropped about Lamar. I'm looking for a good season as well. I love your win total over. What was the total for that off the top of your head? Do you have it?
I believe it's 10.5 or 9.5. I got to look and see exactly what I bet. I know I bet them to win the division at pretty good plus money. We've been doing so many of these win totals, and the bets I've been making are all kind of running together. But I know it's over on the Ravens. I think they're going to win 11 games. I think that 11-6 is really possible for them given their schedule. So over 10.5, over 10, over 9.5. I'm comfortable with all those numbers. And you can even bet an alternative number if you see it, if it's at 9.5 and it's 10.5. I know in Vegas, there's a book here called Circa Sports that does a lot of alternative win totals. So you can get some better plus money if you can jack it up over what they've set the line at. But I think the schedule is the biggest reason. Playing a last place schedule is really going to factor in well for the Ravens.
Yeah, absolutely. And some positive money on them to take that division too. So I like it as well, Matt. I can't wait for football season. Right? It's coming. We're right around the corner. Are you going to be betting on preseason at all, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Raiders play next week in the Hall of Fame game, so I'll have some fun. And I mean, I'm not throwing anything serious, but betting on football is betting on football, and anytime betting on football is over betting on baseball. So I will bet on some preseason. I don't go crazy. I look at it more as, I know there are people in the betting community. There are very sharp people that believe that there is a huge edge to betting in preseason football. If you do your homework, if you study, if you learn the tendencies, like John Harbaugh, he doesn't lose, right? I mean,
No,
the
he
Ravens,
hates it.
the Ravens are a team in the preseason. You just bet the Ravens money line or bet the Ravens against the spread, like every game for all 3 games. And you're like, okay, you feel pretty good about cashing. So I think that that's one angle that you'll see a lot of people go into, but you have to be careful. It's incredibly wonky and weird, and the substitution patterns, and it's much like, spring training baseball. You don't know what the team's trying to work on, and a team may run the ball every single down just to work on the running game and not care about the final score. So you got to be a little careful about betting on preseason, but it is fun to bet football. Anytime you can bet football, it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Way over betting baseball. Now, let's talk about what you've got going on. How are the shows going? What's happening? What's new? What do you want to promote right now, Matt?
Yeah, so we just started my new daily picks podcast called Just the Picks. It drops every single day, 365, holidays be damned, doesn't matter. I'm going to be on making bets, even when I'm ice cold in baseball like I am right now. I'm making picks and plays every single day. So that's available wherever you get your audio podcasts and video on. It's youtube.com/propsus for the video. If you want to go to that, also props.com. It's on the front page for there as well. So that's the new thing we've got. The Bostonian versus the book. Dave Sherapin and I have really seen an incredible 2 or 3 month momentum swing for us. I think a lot of people had to know what the show was about. Yeah. And now they're really getting involved and really liking the show and like what we're doing every day. It's a 2-hour show that's live on Twitter and live on YouTube, 1:00 Eastern time, Monday through Friday, with a replay on Sports Grid TV at 11 p.m. Pacific after the Pat McAfee show. So we're really liking where we're headed and what's going on with that. So those are the 2 big ones that I got going on. And really, we're just like sitting on this launching pad waiting for football, and we cannot wait to see what happens.
Absolutely. All of us can't wait for football. We can't say that enough on this show, but let's talk a little bit of baseball. Is there anything that you are liking on the Diamonds today, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you want to go just money line and you're comfortable laying juice, I think obviously anytime you have Ohtani on the mound for the Angels up against a team like the Rangers, I think you have to go ahead and jump in on the money line. The Rangers are extremely good, much like Baltimore on the run line. So it's a little dangerous laying juice on the -1.5 on Ohtani and the Angels today. But I mean, it's -225 at FanDuel. That's expensive. But if you're comfortable, I think Ohtani does wind up. They win that game today. The only times they win consistently is when Ohtani's on the mound. So given what the All-Star game looked like and all this trade talk that's currently swirling around him, I think he will be good today against the Rangers. So I like that. And then I think with Anderson going for the Dodgers for some reason have struggled at Colorado this year. So I think just sort of the averaging out with a much better baseball team and a really good pitcher, that Anderson, even at altitude against the Rockies, I think the Dodgers on the money line today is decent as well. So those are the 2 juicy money line plays that I say are pretty good, but I'll couch it by saying that I couldn't be colder in baseball. So careful.
Okay. I have to get your thoughts on the Yankees. We saw the Yankees get swept by the New York Mets. What do you think about them coming out versus KC here today? Do you think this is a huge answer back for them at home in this situation? Because I was looking at that.
Yeah, so what I've done, because I can't betting baseball, so I have a 3-leg parlay, which I don't recommend betting parlays, but I'm so cold that I'm doing this. Yankees, Angels, and the Dodgers. It's plus 215, 3-leg money line parlay. I think the Yankees come back and win today. I think you're right. They just picked up Andrew Benintendi today from the Royals, so they get him in their locker room. Former Red Sox farmhand, a guy who's been raking this year for the Royals, and now he goes to the Yankees to give them some extra pop from the left side of the dish to replace Joey Gallo. So it's a good, the rich get richer. It's a nice offensive weapon again for the Yankees, either starting or in their, off their bench. I just think the Mets showed me a lot last night. I think the Mets, I know it's Scherzer and his birthday and, they've been dominant, but man, the Mets taking both those games, those atmospheres for both games were so electric. It was playoff baseball. Yeah. I don't think the Mets are going to be afraid of the Yankees. If we get a Subway Series and if they get Ohtani, I mean, my goodness gracious, this could be a really interesting fall in New York. And not that people like that. I don't like that, but it could be really wild. Mets and Yankees could be on a collision course.
Yeah, absolutely. They could. It's going to be great to see. Matt, I want to thank you for joining me here on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. Where can people find you and all the shows that you have going on again?
Yeah, best way to find me is at Sports Talk Matt on Twitter. That's where you're going to see kind of everything. You can go to props.com as well, and you can watch the Bostonian versus the book, or you can watch just the pick. So those two places are the best places to find my stuff.
Awesome. You guys, make sure you go check Matt out. You don't want to miss out on anything that he's got going on. Some absolutely great shows with packed full of information. Matt, best of luck in the rest of the baseball season. Let's have a fantastic football one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.